Om Namah Sadase Namah Sadasasvataye. Salutations to all my soul sisters and brothers who have assembled here. It's such a pleasure and a satisfying time for me to be here with you all, speaking on this very profound topic, Vedanta for success in business and peace in life. What a beautiful topic it is. Vedanta, of course, most of us are very familiar with the term, but it is differently interpreted by different people. I am a close student of Sanskrit. I have been a Sanskrit teacher, a professor in a college. So Vedanta basically means the end of Vedic literature. Vedas, which are 4 in number, all of us know, Rig, Yajur, Sama and Atharva, the foundational literature of not only India, of the entire mankind, the race, the race as such. It has got 4 sections, the Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. Upanishad is the end portion of the Vedic body of literature, and therefore this particular word is derived from that, which means in the Vedanta we have the philosophical foundations which are so beautifully set forth in dialogue form, in the form of statements, in the form of profound research statements. So Vedanta is actually philosophy, and we call it Indian philosophy. Vedanta means philosophy. Of course, philosophical problems need not be very specific to different races. Most of them are common to all races, all people. Therefore, Vedanta is philosophy. It's not just love of knowledge, love of inquiry, but it is realization. It is everything. So that is Vedanta. Now, Vedanta, see, Indian culture and Vedanta are closely related. And Indian culture has behind it a profound philosophy called Vedanta, which is the product of a penetrating scientific study of man and nature. Man and nature. And this has given us so many values. This has presented us so many values. The most important, significant of them all is the innate divinity of all beings, men, women, and everything. That is one of the significant values that Vedanta sets forth before us. This is the essence of Vedanta. Perhaps this is the differentiating mark between Indian philosophy, that is Vedanta, and others. So once we realize this, perhaps our success is ensured. That gives the confidence, that gives the understanding, that gives the inner insight into our own selves. So having a good knowledge of Vedanta definitely can ensure success in many fields wherever we venture. That's one thing. Now, I just want to tell my sisters here what a profound, positive, great message India has given to the women of not only India but all. One is that today I'll just tell you about the present scenario. We are fighting for gender justice. In every field we are facing this discrimination. So we are doing our bit to fight it and get something out of it. But do you know that in the most ancient phase of literature, that is the Upanishads, which I just mentioned, we have the gender justice ensured at the fundamental level. The fundamental position is this. You all know the names of the 10 basic foundational literature literary pieces, that is the 10 Upanishads, Isha, Kena, Kata, etc. And Brihadaranyaka is one very big Upanishad which gives this statement, and that is the creative force, how woman was created. You know, woman was created in other theologies out of the rib of man. But in this philosophy, this literature, what is the essence that is given? It is this: woman is created by the very creating force which divided itself into two. Tad Vedha Atmanam Vyapatayat Tataha Patischa Patnecha Abhavatam. It divided itself into two, and there became two equal halves. So the gender justice is ensured. There is no, actually in English we say better half. The woman, the wife is considered better off. Not so. It's equal halves. That Brugala Viva, we are equal halves. So to that extent, it is this equality, the freedom and dignity is maintained even in the very fundamental layer. That is what I just wanted to tell. And now, I want to give you some phases of literature, the message this literature gives us, which, when understood properly, can make us so confident, so understanding, and also feel proud about the profundity and the dignity which it gives us. For instance, I am quoting from Varahamihira. All of you perhaps know Varahamihira was a mathematician. He is dated 6th century, and he is also the contemporary of Kalidasa, the prince among Indian poets. You know, he has written many works, the Romaka Siddhanta, etc., mathematical works. He was an astronomer, but he has written another work by the Bruhat Samhita. This Bruhat Samhita has got a very peculiar chapter embedded in it. You know, Bruhat Samhita is an encyclopedic work. You know, all encyclopedias have various types of chapters, various topics they deal with. So here we have chapters on weather, on agriculture, on Ratna Pariksha, that is gemology, and many, many other things. There are about some 150 chapters in this book. And one among them is, surprise, Stri Prashamsadhyaya, that is a chapter in praise of women. And here you can get that distilled wisdom of ancient India, its opinion about women. There is a very beautiful verse. When heard and understood, it can give you that supreme confidence which you need for your life. And I have derived a lot of strength, courage, and also inspiration from these words. And here, this Varahamihira, a great scholar, a rishi-like personality, he says, all the deities, they have endowed the best on women. Somastasa madat shaucham gandharva shikshitam viram adnishta sarvabhakshitvam tasman nishkasamastriyaha. In principle, what this means is, women are like unalloyed gold. See, in order to make jewelry, gold is mixed with copper, so it is alloyed. Whereas women, in principle, in essence, they are like unalloyed gold, because they have been programmed with so many beautiful things, so many wonderful things. And this is Somastasa Mata, purity is endowed on them by the Vedic deity Soma. Agnishta Sarvabhakshitvam, Agni, which is the symbol of human will, and that has endowed women with Sarvabhakshitva, that is the capacity to digest the contradictory things and still feel so much peace at heart and spread a smile and be very happy and spread that happiness all around. that is Agni. And the most important thing is Viraha. There is another deity which has endowed the woman with a beautiful, refined speech. Maybe most of us have listened to many of the speeches that are being delivered by women here and there, especially in this WEF forum. And we have seen how beautifully each one of them has been giving out their ideas, and in the most chaste language that they can select. I have seen it, I have enjoyed it, I have a lot of appreciation for this. And our rishis say women have this refined speech which is a part of their DNA. That is the most wonderful thing. So this is the kind of confidence they install in us. That's one thing. And again, you have the great literature like the Devi Upanishad, Devi Purana, etc. And this is thrilling actually. When I read it for the first time, I was deeply impressed by this. See, in the normal course of life, we see that women are not given education, they are looked down upon, they are treated like second-rate citizens, etc., etc. There is such a scenario. But you see, the fundamental position, which when implemented, which when properly understood, can take us to what zenith, what heights, and it is Vidya Samasta Tavadevi Bhedaha. This is the Devi Upanishad, which says, all knowledge is thine. All knowledge is thine. Vidya Samasta Tavadevi Bhedaha. Striya Samasta Sakala Jagatasu. All the women are your reflections, O Mother, the universal principle. You see, the creative feminine force is addressed as the mother, and she is considered reflecting all the feminine beauty, feminine principles and the vidyas, that is knowledge. So this is something extraordinary, this is something wonderful, I felt. So women now are not second-rate citizens, they are not ignorant, they should be given education. Society, modern Indian society is fighting to give this prime position to Indian women. But there has been a lot of phases, not many phases in ancient Indian history, of course, due to various reasons, the socio-political, the socio-historical reasons, that women were relegated to secondary positions. But today, having realized this fundamental position of what India has for women, we are trying to come out. And if you know the originals, if you know the source books, the fundamental position of what the ancient Indian literature in terms of its philosophy and its great literature can offer us, we can get back, we can bounce back to our optimum level, we can realize our potentials. That's what I just wanted to say. And if this could be elaborated, and there could be questions on this also, then we will take. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Salutations to my gurus and the Guru Parampara. Once again, I thank the organizers of this WEF for having called me to share some of my thoughts. I would like to mention that I'm really happy that I'm sharing the forum with my teacher from college. She was my Sanskrit teacher in college, and the relationship goes many decades. I'd like to start with a quotation by Swami Vivekananda, who is one of the greatest seers of our country. He said, "Civilizations have arisen in other parts of the world in ancient and modern times. Wonderful ideas have been carried forward from one race and one generation to another. But mark you, my friends, it has always been with the blast of war trumpets and the march of embattled cohorts. Each idea had to be soaked in a deluge of blood. Each word of power had to be followed by the groans of millions, by the wails of orphans, by the tears of widows. This many other nations have taught. But India, for thousands of years, Here activity prevailed when even Greece did not exist. Even earlier, when history has no record and traditionalists dare not peer into the gloom of that intense past, even from then until now, ideas after ideas have marched out of her. But every word has been spoken with a blessing behind it and a peace before it. We of all nations of the world have never been a conquering race, and that blessing is on our head, and therefore we live. I happen to say this because I think a part of the topic is about peace. And our country has been one that has always been peaceful. We are never a conquering race. We have never gone out of this country to conquer anywhere else. But there may be people who say that, oh, there were skirmishes inside. Yes, there were. Where there is man, there is bound to be. Man in the sense, I don't mean gender, man, woman, I mean humankind. But, I have to quote from a Sangam poet. And Sangam poets were the poets in south of India, and it's in Tamil. But I won't do the Tamil quote, I'll just say what was the import of it in English. And this was a third BC work. And it was of and about the Pandya king. So the Pandya king announces in a righteous manner, he says, women, children, aged people, those who are sick, and men of learning whose demeanor is gentle, and those with no children to perform precious last rites and cows, take refuge. We are ready to shoot volleys of arrows. So this was Shastra Dharma for us. They never hurt the general common man. So even if there were wars, it was not between the common people. There was a very marginal enmity between people. So if you look at it, our country has been a country that has been rich in material wealth, in emotional wealth, in intellectual wealth, and in spiritual wealth. And our forests were thick, pristine. We had wild animals that roamed around. And the natural resources that we had were so great that there were merchants that sold gems by the volume measure on the streets. Our mathematicians gave the world the concept of zero. Our seers gave the Vedas, which is practically the world's largest body of literature, of philosophy, of every kind of knowledge that you can find. And when you look at all this, but maybe about 2 decades ago, if you went to any economic forum, what is it we heard about our country? What is it they said? Third world, underdeveloped, etc. We were very generously given this position. So do you think that for 1,000 years, everybody knows that for 1,000 years, literally, we have had invaders coming to this country. And the last bit of them were traders who came and stayed back and colonized us. Do you think they all came here to steal our spiritual wealth? No, they came here to take of all the wealth that we had. Go to any museum in the world. There are artifacts from India. Go to all the private collectors. There's immeasurable wealth from India. So why did we become a third world underdeveloped country? And why did we have all this wealth before? I mean, this is my opinion. Everybody is welcome to differ. I think that we had all this wealth and all this peace because the foundation of our culture, our country, was Vedanta, was spiritual wealth. That was the foundation. And so Vedanta speaks of what you call a prayerful attitude. That's not an act of prayer. It's a prayerful attitude. See, for example, it's so embedded in us. When we are children, if you step on a book, what do? You ask for pardon. But you don't know why you're doing it. But as you grow, you realize that knowledge has to be respected. So that is something that's already in our psyche. So when we say prayerful attitude, it means that we have a certain respectful attitude for just about everything. So if you look at the life of a traditional Indian, I'd say traditional because I think, today that's kind of changing. So when we say traditional Indian, as you wake up, what do you do? What are you supposed to do at least? We touch Mother Earth and we ask for forgiveness for treading on her. And the next thing, what do? We look at our hands and it's a prayer. And what's that prayer? Yes. And so what is it? Every action that I carry out with these hands have to be something that is divine. When I say divine, if there's somebody who doesn't believe in God, it really doesn't matter. When I say divine, it means something that is better than what we are. Let's take it that way. Because, we're not having a theology discussion here. And then the next thing, what do? We feed the crows. We feed, if you have fish, if you have cows. And then what are we doing? We pray to the elements. So if you look at, and then food. You pray to the food. You literally have this worshipful attitude to everything. And that's because Madam already said that we believe in the divinity of the entire creation. The cause and the effect are the same. So this is the attitude that we have, one of prayerful attitude. And so now, if we come to saying that Vedanta for success in business, is Vedanta a handbook of management of business that it's going to double your profits? Or that it's going to win you that tender day after tomorrow? No, that's not going to happen. But it's going to make you a better you. And for a business to succeed, what is it we need? We need managers or people who are promoting businesses to have their minds available to them. Their minds have to have the capability to discern, to make decisions, to be quick, and to be impartial. And so, what does Vedanta do? That's what it builds in you. It builds every quality that you need to be a good business person. And it also gives you those ethics of business. See, I remember when I was young, people never said that they were going to work. They would say, I am going to service or I am going for duty. Because there was a certain work ethics already embedded in them. It was not just about the money that they got, but it was about what they gave to the job that they went for. So once again, when we say Vedanta, we can have million interpretations of what Vedanta is, which text it is, what it is, etc., 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 etc. But finally, it is whatever is given in our culture to be better people. And better people are the ones who can do better businesses. And when you can do better businesses, you become a success. Anybody has an objection to what I said now? So when I don't know whether I'm satisfying what was expected of me, because sometimes people think that Vedanta is the one that you just and then everything just changes overnight. It doesn't. It's a very long process. And then I hear all this about this 3-day meditation course. And then you come out saying, oh wow, 3 days and I'm just a different person. No, you're starting to become a different person. You're just starting. It's not an overnight wand, it's not an overnight magical solution to anything, but that has to become our way of life. Where we have this prayerful attitude about everything and everybody in life. When you enter your place of work, that's like a place of worship. It's okay, but you don't have to call it Ramakrishna Govinda, you can call it an order, you can call it a blue light, you can call it energy, whatever we want. Name it what you want. But we are great at deifying everything. And in India, there is no difference between the secular and the spiritual. Every act is a spiritual act. If you look at our arts, that's a way towards becoming a better person. If if making money is an act of Lakshmi, is an act of creating wealth. Wealth is Lakshmi. Studying is Saraswati. Everything. We can create new deities also. I've seen Ganesha with a cricket bat, so it's the cricket Ganesha. Whatever you want to call it, we have that freedom. But that respect, that prayerful attitude. So I guess, we can keep on talking about it, but finally I guess that's all there is. And I would like to say that, I was raised in a family where we started the day pretty much like I said we do, and our parents didn't take us to movies, but we went to lectures. I can remember from when I was 3 years old, we went to Swami Chinmayananda's lectures. I didn't understand a word of what was being said, but it taught me one thing, to just be. So we sat there for 2 hours, just being very silent, occupying myself with the sand in the front, because the first day we went to the lectures, we were in the last row, and Swami Chinmayananda has the habit of gesticulating a lot. So it just looked like this doll in saffron just moving the hands in the back. From the next day we sat in the first row, and so there was no way I could even whisper, and I was just all of 3.5 or 4. I just played in the sand. And that's the way we grew. And then when I started growing up, when you become a teenager, then you start questioning, why should I come? But somehow that never happened really, because it had become so much a way of life. My friends would bunk college and they would go to movies, but I would bunk and I would go to some lecture. I mean, that had just become a habit. Not that, but that was fun for me. I mean, because people think that, oh, don't you have to have some fun? Yeah, that was fun for me, and it still continues. My experience with it still continues. See, I think they mentioned that I was a pilot and whatever. I mean, that seems to be the selling point for me. But not personally, but for others, they think that, oh, she was a pilot, so that's something big. I did flying as a private pilot. I got my license, and then I applied to do commercial flying, and I got the scholarship 3 days after I was married. And then this became a big decision for me, because if I accepted the scholarship, I mean, they didn't tell me that I had to, but to justify a scholarship like that, I felt I would have to go out and work. And then I said, well, it was not a decision that I would allow anybody else to make for me, because I grew up that way, little headstrong. So I thought it over, and then I thought it over, and then I thought it over, and then finally I said, I went back to a lecture I had heard on Bhagavad Gita which spoke of Swadharma. Swadharma is that nature of oneself. Madam was here to tell me later, no, that's not the meaning, but anyway. Okay, now that I've got approval from her. So I just thought about myself. I said, am I the kind of person who would go out and work? And if you have to be a pilot, it's literally 18 days away from your home. I said, am I that person who would go out for 18 days a month and be at peace with myself? But once again, see, I would have been the first woman from South India, and I would have got all these newspaper reviews, and that's another trip. So I was that age, when that could have kind of lured me and said, hey, why not I do that? And then after a couple of days, I said, well, all that's temporary, but what happens after that? Am I going to be at peace? Am I going to be happy? Then I finally said, let me make that decision and be successful in the decision that I make for myself. I think that is what is being a success. I said, no, I don't want the scholarship. They were surprised because I would have been the only woman, because there was another girl who joined the course, she dropped out, she couldn't bear it, and I was the only person there. So it would have been something big for them too. Oh, we did this, we promoted. I said, no, you didn't promote anything. It was just merit, and I got it. And I'm refusing it. So that's how Vedanta really helped me make a big decision. That was a very big decision for me at 20, to decide. But looking back, I have never, ever regretted that decision. So many people ask me, oh, you would have earned, you would have done this, you would have. I said, okay, yes, all right, I would have. I said, what makes you think I'm not successful now? I mean, I'm not being arrogant and saying it. But personally, I think I'm very much at peace with my life. And that's what success is. Because as to success in business, I just asked somebody, I said, okay, I asked my husband, I said, now when you said business, what is it really? It's an exchange of money. And I think I'm the kind of person who doesn't even take a rupee with me. So money and me are kind of distinct. So to me, if you are a successful person in any which way, where you're at peace with yourself, whatever you do will be a success. So I guess that's what I would have liked to share. I've spoken to
From whatever I have learned from the reverend masters, teachers here, highly enlightening. I will share my personal view on this whole topic. So I will share my journey, how Vedanta happened to me. Here I was one of 19 and I got married into a huge joint family of 40 people, and within 3 years I had 2 children. And after about, so now I'm taking you fast forward 10 years down the line. My son is 7, my daughter is 5, and I have gone to Bombay to my paternal home. And at 8 in the morning, the doorbell rings, and my son quickly jumps up to open the door. You know how like 7-year-old boys are. The door opens and in walk 7 men, one after the other. And as they were asking for my father, so I didn't know them, but they said we would like to have a glass of water. So I told the servant at my dad's home, hey, just give them water. So he gave me a tray of water, and I served those people. I turned around to serve those people water. And what do I see? I see the moment I turn around that 2 of the men were on the sofa. They had my 7-year-old son on their lap. With one hand, they covered his mouth so he couldn't shriek and scream, and with the other, they had a gun pointing at him. So my 7-year-old was at gunpoint. With the other gun, they started rounding up all the people present in the house. We had about 10 to 12 people because my mom had arranged for a kirtan the day before. So, and as luck would have had it, my mom was in one bathroom taking a bath because it was 8 in the morning, and my father was in the other bathroom taking a bath. And then my son at gunpoint, and there I see my dad coming in from the gallery, and one guy got up and he pointed a gun at my dad. And somehow something struck. I was 29 years old, and I don't know what happened. I rushed towards the balcony, shouting and screaming, "Bhago, bhago! Khandebaji ke ghar pe 5 maale pe chor aa gaye." I don't even know what I consciously did, but this is what the people tell me that I did that. So 2 people followed me, and they pulled my hair and they got me back inside the room. And it seems that I must have clawed their eyes, and I retaliated, I reacted, I fought, I don't know what all. But within 4 to 5 minutes, those people were not, they didn't think that they would retaliate. So when I fought back, my father fought back. Those 8 to 10 present people, they all fought back, and they were astonished. So within a second, one of the men who had my son on his lap pushed my son away, and they just fled. They said "Bhago," and they ran. And just like a typical Bollywood film, the moment they were going out down the stairs, the police comes in. Some neighbors must have complained, so the police came in. The long and short is, my husband came the very flight, but the very night my husband came home, and he got me back to Delhi. When I reached Delhi, I was all over the national newspapers. Mahila ne dakuon ko maar ke bhaga diya types, a woman heroically fought and the robbers went away kind of a thing. But I was in fear. I was palpitating. For 2 whole months, I was agony personified. A doorbell would ring and I was just shiver. And my son was in his own trauma. He was a 7-year-old child. And it seems that he thinks that I said, Maro, Maro, what else can you do other than killing my son? So he took it the wrong way, that the mother wants the son to be killed, wanted something to happen. So he had his own trauma, I had my own trauma. So 2 months, and I was in high fever, delirium, and all of that.
And then Vedanta happened to me. So 22 years ago, Vedanta happened to me. I learned the scriptures with the help of my teacher. I joined the Chinmaya mission. From there, I met the right guru, and who I have been training and learning under, and then we've been doing the Vedas and the Upanishads. The long and short of all of it is, I believe, the topic here we have to discuss is business, peace, and as she very rightly said, Vedanta is a long journey. You've come to learn about yourself. You have to first find your peace. The moment you are at peace, everything around you falls into place. All of us in India believe in destiny, and we all have to live in a given set of circumstances. My given, the family I was born in. My given, the family I got married into. My given, the husband or the children that I've had. So I can just try and change a little of whatever to do with them, the relationship with them. The rest I have to accept. Acceptance, the moment we accept, and we all have learned over our journeys, we've learned a lot of high-flying words in the Upanishads, in the Vedas, in the Gita, but I actually believe it has to translate into real life. Everything, unless and until it translates into my life now, it holds no meaning. So this is the journey that I have been on, and I've always lived in a joint family. We are 10 of us living together. So we have enough reasons, enough situations in our own household to see that our egos are set straight, to understand, to empathize with one another, to learn with one another, to accept the other as is without wanting the other person to change. For me, that is success. And I am by nature a business-oriented person. I was born in a Vaishya community, and I was from a Vaishya community, so business comes very easy and very naturally to me. So at the same time, I've been doing the Vedas and the Upanishads. I've been totally into business as well. But all the formulas, all the mantras, now all these business schools are coming up with their own mantras. Our Shastras did that ages back. They had certain steps outlined. The Karma Yoga principle, all the principles if one wishes to follow, has to be diligently done, diligently lived. We cannot just expound it in words, it has to be lived. And then success naturally comes, because if you're doing it well, you're doing it to the best of your ability. And the moment you start doing it unselfishly also, not just thinking about money that you can gain or whatever, you can just advertise and gain, but the minute you start thinking of giving back, you automatically become successful. Because that, to my mind, is the highest potential a human being can aspire. Other than the goal of reaching the highest potential, which seems very difficult because it is a long journey, So at least what we can do in our little ways, we can give back in whichever way we can. We can connect with the other person, we can connect with people in our environment, and we can make our own circles of influence. But for that, we have to be first peaceful within, quiet within, and the Shastras and all the spiritual texts of the world, not just the Vedanta, for that matter, we in India encompass all. They believe all religions are equal. We are the givers. Actually, our land has a tradition, ancient culture, and heritage of the highest tradition and the highest values. But like Vijayalakshmi rightly pointed out, we've become so westernized, so globalized, so-called modernization, we feel ourselves redundant in following our own customs. So this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to first make ourselves take pride in our own culture. Once we do it, once we believe in it, once we live it, our youngsters automatically will. So India and Indianness and the value of our culture and traditions is very, very important and dear to me. So I see Vedanta as a very important and a very integral part in my whole journey, and I actually hope and pray that all of us can do the same. Thank you.
Welcome everyone here. Very good afternoon. As the topic of the day is transformation, the change for the betterment. So basically that's what we need, each and every day, each and every activity we involve in, we want to do better and better and better. So this is nothing new. The point here is we have to ask ourselves that how many life circumstances, how many people we need who can change us, basically. So there was one question was asked to a person, how many people you need so that they can change you? So one said, 3-4 log, 3 to 4 people I need. One said, 10 people. People can change me through their inspiration and their principles or whatever. One person, he was a wise man, he said that I just need me, If I know myself, I can change myself. And there was a man who was like a married man, he said, I need just a wife. So here is the feminine dignity, and here lies the power of women. Welcome everybody here. We will be talking about women as leader as at the rate of speed of thought. I will tell you why I am talking about transformation and how women are much better transformers or change agents in the society. Meeting you all is my pleasure, and to be the part of such a mega event which is beyond my comprehension, where over 2,000 inspiring women and supportive men from 150 countries are joining over the 6 days that have 508 sessions on 41 different themes and business verticals, making it the largest such diverse global event empowering women's leadership and networking. The live feed over the web will freely go to the thousands across the world, we all know that. Such a large flood of inspiration and power is conferred upon us in order to gather ideas and power to execute them. Such power is so powerful that I am not able to grasp it in my handful. There's nothing but the power of being a woman, which instills in me loads of positivity, because transformation is all about positivity. You have heard this word, aham brahm. How many of you? Yeah. What does that mean? I am divine. Divine means I have everything positive in me to evolve myself to the maximum, whatever capabilities I have. So can you please repeat this after me? Aham brahm. Aham brahm. Aham brahm. Aham brahm. I am divine. There is nothing but the power of being a woman which instills in me loads of positivity and happiness, which is breeding ground. What is that? Loads of positivity and happiness is what? A breeding ground for highest possible achievement, needed to attract the highest visions and purpose of our lives on this incredible planet called Earth. I welcome and thank the origin of such a great initiative with utmost dexterity, which can't beat any global event organized so far. I have not seen such a vast scale mega event before in my life. I extend my heartiest congratulations and applause to the organizers, promoters in all forms, media partners and other backstage executives. I may thank all of you and congratulate all of you that all your efforts will bear fruit sooner or later, the organizers and the people who are attending it. And this is a great service to humanity at large, since humanity depends and banks upon what? Education of women worldwide. You all agree with that? Yes.
Education of men more, because it is interdependence.
Yeah, I have a different view on this, ma'am. A small different view, humbly. I say that I thank all the, I will tell you in a short while. I thank all the foreign delegates to appreciate each and every aspect of India and Indian culture. The food, the places, the people. You know, one colleague was sitting with me yesterday, and I asked her from where you are. She said that she is originally from Europe, but she is settled in Dubai and in Bangalore, which is in India. I asked her, you are in Bangalore, you are doing business? Yeah, I'm doing business. With whom? She said, my husband. And when I asked her, She said that her husband is a South Indian. Meena, how do you feel? You are a European lady, and how do you feel being married to an Indian man? She said, I don't know about what Indian men are, but my husband, I just adore him like anything because for two reasons. He respects me and appreciates me each and every time. He respects me so much that I feel at peace with myself. You know, that she said. So round of applause for all the Indian men as well as women here. And yeah. So as we all have experienced that women as leaders have an edge over men in broader perspective and depth, I believe completely. Why? We human beings are divine beings, and most of the credit goes to the feminine divinity as, ma'am, she gives birth to human being and make man kings, because without queens there can't be any king. On a lighter note, because when you give anything to a woman, what happens? When you give anything to a woman, how she transforms. You can see the leap and bounds in the transformation change which she makes. How? As William Golding says, whatever you give a woman, she will make greater. If you give her a sperm, she will give you a baby. If you give her a house, she will give you a home. If you give her groceries, she will give you a meal. If you give her a smile, she will give you her heart. She multiplies and enlarges whatever is given to her. This is divinity. Just a moment, just 1 minute, I will say. Thank you so much. Today we are talking about value of independence. We all want to be independent or not? We all want to have dignity or not? These are the two questions and values we are insisting and seeking. Every woman seek this. Both the things will come when she is handling and managing her inner self and ego with dexterity. जैसे आपने अभी बोला कि we are more humble than men. See, when we are at home and something wrong happens, तो sorry सबसे पहले कौन बोलता है? A woman says sorry at home. A man may not say, you know. So this is the way she takes care of her ego as well, and she manages and preserves the male ego as well. Okay, but I have been allotted the time here. I just wonder.
Please do so, because we have very established speakers.
Okay, this will earn. So when we are talking about success here, when we set a goal, what we do SWOT analysis. जैसे अभी बताया कि you follow the principles.
And we can incorporate your session in some other session, because here people have come just for Vedanta.
Okay, fine.
So,
yeah. For SWOT analysis, and thank you all for being a woman. It is a wonderful privilege. Be a woman, be kind, be compassionate, be happy, be ambitious at the same time. Happy and ambitious at the same time. Be a diva because you are divine. Bask in the glory of and shine. Thank you so much.
We have a Q&A.
Where shall I sit? Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me a chance to speak. Thank you. By chance, maybe mistakenly.
I think so. They didn't know the topic where you were sent to. Please. Yeah, you want to
Thank you. I can sit here. Yeah.
So, you want to answer?
Right, they have something to. Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to know that, you talked about the heritage of, Vedanta. So in a country where the whole philosophy rested on oneness and, on coexistence with everything, not just human beings, where did we lose track? Because if it was so embedded in our heritage, despite what happened, I mean, of course, there was the onslaught of invasions and, all of that. Why did we lose that essence? So, my question is that, was there a degree of selfishness? Because the people who were custodians of this knowledge didn't end up sharing it with the other people. I mean, where did we go wrong, really? And why do we have to now reinvent and teach people something which was so inherently, really like embedded in our DNA, so to say, you know? So what happened really?
It's a very, very deep question, which involves a complete analysis of thousands of years of checkered history of India. So it cannot be so easily answered. But one thing I can tell you, your question has this, there were people who actually owned the knowledge, they did not share it with. It's not correct. I can give you some dozens of examples from the Upanishads. See, in the Upanishads, which are the foundational texts, as I said, from where we take our inspiration for our knowledge and also our divine civilization, you have very ordinary people, not from the so-called priestly class, who have been named as priestly class by the later historians, very ordinary people who have been great teachers. I can quote you the name of Raikwa, who was a leprosy patient, and he was a great repository of Atma Jnana, and a king by the name Dhanushruti goes to that person on hearing from somebody else that he is the repository of Atma Jnana and goes and gets the teaching. So this feeling that somebody had it for themselves and they did not give it to others is not correct. But we, at a later stage in history, there were some selfish people who actually prohibited others from doing it, and it has not happened all through. See, one thing about India is it's really very difficult to understand is that we don't have uniform standards of both evil and good throughout India. See, yesterday I was listening to some lady speaking about the social position of Haryana, of women. See, it is not the case, it's very bad in Haryana, but it's not the case in other states. In Bihar, when a girl child is born, I think most of you know, they plant fruit trees so that it will yield something and it will help the girl at the time of her marriage, or it will give something. But in Haryana, they are not even allowed, and with the lowest ratio we have. So India is not just one uniform this thing, it's a mosaic. There are so many different things. So that way, your question has to be properly gone into, and at different stages, some different kinds of disturbances have occurred, and of course they are multiplied, the problems have been multiplied by the attacks we had. So we cannot get one single answer for your question. But this much is certain, that since we have the foundational principles intact and divine and sacred and very well established by the continuity of Rishi like personalities, saints, we can always get back to them. That is certain. So today we can understand where we have, even if we have gone wrong, we can come back to the right path, having traced our path. So that is one thing.
But where do we have access to those rishis?
I've been doing a lot of research. I've been doing a lot of research on this since we are into the movement of reviving our culture and tradition. So 2 years ago, we formed a group called Day-5 to promote the Day-5 to promote our culture and tradition. So I've been doing a lot of research. I've been writing a lot on this as well. What I have come to find out is that when Lord Macaulay, the so-called Thomas Macaulay, on whose name this education system of India, they are now listening. So Thomas Macaulay went back to England. He had come here. He went here to England and he presented a paper in the British Parliament saying that the values, the ethics, the morals of this land is so high. Unless and until they break it down systematically, they will never be able to rule India as a nation. So systematically they went about about degenerating, breaking the very backbone of our nation. So what happened was that the first generation of Indians after them became so pseudo-intellectual, so pseudo-English, that they thought that everything that Indians, whatever we had, was redundant, was old-fashioned, was outdated. So after that, all the generations of India, so we ourselves lost everything that we believed in. It was a very systematic plan that they had got to do this. So they said all the Vedas, all the Upanishads, all the things are redundant. So that's how they made us do it.
And we are still not able to get out of it.
Absolutely. I would want to add on to that is that, and that question is to you also, that we were weak enough to allow an external force to kind of, dig a hole into our complete fabric and the system which was so strong and so rich in our culture, and we continue to do so. In continuation, that there is a question also, which is that we and organizations like all can have such a big event like WEF, Women Economic Forum. I want to ask, because you're into education also, what plan is there, if there is, to, because I am studying in a convent in Lucknow and we had a third language is Sanskrit. But now we have the third language as French or German or Spanish. So do we have, as you are the scholars of the subject you are, we are here to listen to, is there a plan, or are we seeing any kind of future of Vedanta coming back again?
Don't be so pessimistic. Just to answer what you said that if we were such a strong foundation, why did this happen? We have had 1,000 years of invasions. Yeah. It's not even 1 or 2 days. And after the 1,000 years, we were colonized for another 200 years. And the 200 years is what did actually probably
1,000 years
a lot more damage, because they entered into our education system. And like she said, our education system is designed in such a way that we are untouched by India. We are untouched by India or Indian culture. There's nothing there. And every morning you get up hating yourself. Everything you hate. It's like, for example, I go to an Ayurvedic doctor by choice. But I know some of my family members themselves, why can't you go to a real doctor? Hello? I mean, why? Is an Ayurvedic doctor not a real doctor? Because it's so much in the psyche. Ayurveda is not scientific. What do you mean by not scientific? What is this science? It's just like now, a country is being taken on the right to allow GMO crops, saying that our traditional methods are not good enough. Who even tried it really? So we've just been totally brainwashed. Till we get over that brainwashing, this is how we're going to be. And we always value ourselves from the eyes of someone else. The valuation is not from ourselves. They said this about us, so that's what we are. So the whole economic forum in the world called us a third world country, so we are underdeveloped. So now we have to start aping something that's not our own. Any number of people who have this knowledge, we just have to make the effort.
Just add one available. It's on the internet now.
I just
one
sentence to what she said. She sounded a little pessimistic.
No, I was
in a sense, of course, factual. Anyway, you see, this is exactly the question we ask ourselves, we pose ourselves in the field of Sanskrit. But today, Sanskrit has come back. It started in Bangalore. One group of youngsters, of course, supported by RSS, they started it, and we have started. And today, speak Sanskrit, because Sanskrit is considered very difficult, it's a hard nut to crack, etc., etc. So, in order to remove this mental block, what they did was introduce it in a simple way in 10 days, some 250 words, that way. Sanskrit is such an ancient language, so rich, richer than Greek, Latin, etc., etc., and it is the hallowed language, the language of our culture, the language of our civilization. So, it has come back. Today, it is open for all. no bars. Anybody can come, and people from all sections of society, they come and learn, and they feel more confident, they feel more interested in themselves and more Indian. That is one thing. So with lot of effort, definitely we can bring back some pristine purity that we boast of. That would be done, and it has been done in some fields at least, because I am closely associated with this Sanskrit field. Another, I can say that, another thing I want to say is, see, in the field of drama, Natya Shastra is the earliest work in the world literature that treats the art of drama in its pristine purity, all the departments of drama. It's a huge work consisting of about 26,000 verses. Now, what drama we had after the advent of the British, we aped the British drama. And it is a universal theatre concept we have in Natya Shastra. You know what we did? I did a small project for IGNCA to produce an ancient Sanskrit play based on the Natya Shastra principles of production. That's available today in English subtitles. One of the finest plays the world literature has produced, and that is Swapna Vasavattam of Bhasa. So here and there people have been putting their best efforts to realize these foundational inspirations, and it's happening. So we should, yes, it is happening. I have produced a few, and I can also tell you, since you are interested in listening to it, we have one great ancient Indian art sport from the literary field, that is Avadhana. Avadhana means attention. It used to be a pan-Indian great art, but today, Sahitya art, that is literary art, but today it is available only in South India, and led to a great technically trained person by the name Ganesh, who is also a Shatavadhani. He has revived it, and he has performed thousands of Avadhana performances. That is, one person sitting, some 10 to 15 people asking him questions, very tricky questions about literature, about many things, and simple mathematics, counting, etc., etc. And Chitra Kavya, that is writing poetry in the form of different objects like a mala, etc. And all this only with the help of mastaka, not pustaka. No reference of, no notes, no help from anybody else. All of them they were answered simultaneously by him. And that I have put it in the form of a video. So we have a documentary film on Avadhana. See, I recently presented it in Lal Bahadur Shastri University, which actually is Sanskrit, storehouse of Sanskrit people. They themselves have completely forgotten. So many things we have lost. So today, of course, we have references to all this, and here and there certain things have cropped up, and we are banking on them, trying to redo it, get it back to our mainstream. That is what is being done. And there is a historical reason for this. This is not the time to give you that.
And anyway, Swami Vivekananda said a very beautiful thing. He said, this is just a dim link in the chain.
The biggest link.
This is a dim link, and we will go back to our glory. And I hope we are all there.
Look forward, and we are going to do our best.
Yes.
Now all these films are available as documentary films. What I have done.
So we are bang on time. Thank you so much, Dr. Leela. Thank you, Vijayalakshmi ji. It was such a great pride to listen to you, and that is truly insightful. We are really honored and privileged to have you with us today. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for them.
Thank you.
Please, all of us get on. Yes. They can't go just question. People ask questions. Integral part of the program. See, you have been reading about it. Then only what question comes, right? Yes. Why? Srinivas, please come. Yes. For austerity. Come on. Vijay Kumar, when I phone Why are you being so?
Energy, aap aaye. Come.
Come, please come. Lazy to get up. Lazy to get up, is it?
I know.
Come forward. He wants us to come forward and take the leg gently. Is this okay?
Yeah, this is fine. This is good.
Okay.
Come towards the center.
आप ना इस तरफ आ जाओ मैम, आप जस्ट बैक, आप बैक
पीछे
नहीं मैम आ जाएंगे
Actually, she's tall, that's why she's
Starting point.
Oh,
In between two heads.
यस मैम, यस स्मार्ट
Smile, bye.
थैंक यू
See, you realize your roots, then you become more confident.
But I just what came, I hadn't prepared it. This is the smart topic. Whose mobile is
Because you have lived that experience, no?
I just happened to come down and just met all the people that, you know, the right vibration and the right serendipity.
ड्राफ्टर लगा रखा भाई ड्राफ्टर ये देखो बंद नहीं होगा, अडेप्टर मिल जाएगा तो वहाँ पे कैमरा जब ये देखो शो किया बैटरी शो कर देगा। ये नहीं शो करनी चाहिए क्योंकि बैटरी वो दिखाते हैं ये कैमरे।
Nice to meet you. Same here.
Thank you for your talk. Oh, you're welcome. It's interesting about obviously the subject, the fact that you took flying with you. Very brave.
Bravery is being amongst 20 women. That's how I read.
Hi, do you have laptops? You did? No, it's okay, because I'm delivering in room 11.
You can do. अरे यार ये भी उतने मिनट दिखा रही है जो निकाल रही है
I'm talking about work-life balance.
ठीक है अब रिकॉर्डिंग ढका देना ओके बहुत किसकी सर वहाँ पे देखो ये मैं कह तो रहा हूँ ये DSLR है
वहाँ पे देखो मतलब इसके अकॉर्डिंग नहीं रिकॉर्डिंग
And then my topic क्या बोलूं इसको हमने यहाँ पे लोग नेहा कौन सी है क्यों बैठे साइड का प्रोग्राम
रूम थ्री में कोई भी ऑडियंस नहीं 3
स्पीकर आ चुके हैं
मैं मोबाइल पे भी डाल सकती हूँ
हाँ यही बहुत मुसीबत है हर जगह स्पीकर ऑडियंस
So I need to go over and I need a good half an hour. Sorry. It's just that and also I've got some of these stuff. Did you bring anything for your turn? I've got some stuff. What's these on? How long do, because I'm doing panel bits, so it's like 5 to 10 days.
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, express what
You don't have any friends? How much?
You will have sessions going on now.
So how long is your time?
Please invite your friends,
Honestly,
speakers.
don't worry about me.
Parmi.
You two do what you need to do.
And Zoe, please invite your friends.
Sorry?
Please invite your friends.
Yeah, should we go out and start bringing people in?
Yeah, well, we can all do that.
Yeah, should we all go out and do that?
Yes, if you can, it will be very nice.
Okay.
So as soon as we're all ready, then we'll go and do that.
Well, Polo na come and listen to us or something like. Why not?
Yeah, just make sure I can find my phone as well.
It's good, sometimes you have to be a little blind and that's it.
So which one are your disability one?
Yeah, I'm doing disability one.
That's it. Yeah, 6. Which one are you doing, Meena? At 6. Which one? Which one are you doing at 6 o'clock?
6 I am a room duty.
Oh, room duty.
I'm doing voluntary.
I'm just looking at the sessions of what we're doing.
I have to be a volunteer.
Oh, you're a volunteer here?
Yeah, no, not here.
Okay.
I am a volunteer here.
Okay, so where were you a volunteer, Meena?
In room number 7.
Just just over here.
Yeah.
What's the next session to might join you?
Sure.
What's it called? Sorry.
I'm not aware. I have to take the list.
Oh, okay.
The topic is because
Well, I've got it here.
They
Have a
are
look.
merging the topics.
Did you say 7?
Okay.
So, did you say 7?
Yeah.
So whenever we're all ready, just let me know when we're ready to go out and bring people
Let's
in.
go and do it.
You guys,
Yeah,
Meena,
let's go.
you tell me whenever you're ready. I'll come with you. We can bring people in.
Yeah, I'm ready. Good, thank you guys. We're supposed to be starting in 2 minutes.
We will start only when we get some audience.
Yeah, but I think so we'll be better to go and get everybody excited. Yeah?
No, we will wait.
I thought you just said for us to bring friends in. Is that what you just said? Okay. So you want us to go out? Okay, that's fine.
एक सेशन को सबको ब्रेक चाहिए होता है ना, चाय लेना है, वॉशरूम जाना है, इधर जाना है।
टाइमिंग भी थोड़ा
ठीक है,
दिक्कत नाइट को हो जाती है मैम, लास्ट सेक्शन बहुत लंबा चला जाएगा। इस आज तो वैसे भी 9:30 बजे तक है।
क्यों?
पता नहीं क्यों, उसमें देखा मैंने
9:30 तक।
हाँ जी, 8:30 से 9:30 है शायद।
अच्छा।
कमरे में इसका ये कल 8:30 बजे 15 बजे उस कमरे का है लास्ट। ये 2 कमरे हैं अभी भी, ये भी बता रखी है। आप दिल्ली से ही हो?
मैं दिल्ली से हूँ। तुम लोग कहाँ से हो?
मैं वैसे फ्रॉम हिमाचल से हूँ, डिस्ट्रिक्ट ऊना।
यहाँ पे कंपनी के साथ वर्क कर रहे हो?
यस मैम, दिल्ली में 2 साल वर्क किया पहले, तो उसी से हमारे लिंक बने हुए हैं। टीम वर्क हायर किया हुआ।
अच्छा।
और अपना ऑफिस मेरा पर्सनल जो है हमारा वो हिमाचल।
You've given up already? You've given up already? I've got 3 ladies coming in. You've got pain? Oh, so how are you going to talk?
I'm managing somehow.
Oh, okay. Looks like we're just talking to each other anyway. We'll just end up speaking to just you, me, and Parmi. Just fine.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Come on in.
It's a lovely lady that puts your hand on your heart.
Right. Tomorrow I have a session at 9:45. Full laughter workshop.
Oh.
Yeah, CM10.
Well, I won't be there because I'm going home tomorrow. Yeah, well, in the morning I'm going home, so I'll miss it.
Okay.
Yay.
I may not be here throughout because somebody's coming to pick me up, but till such time I'll be here.
I like it. I'll never forget that.
So you are a laughter therapist?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were just talking about it, but you are
No.
really-
I've done my doctorate on humor. And laughter therapy, wellness, creative wellness, laughter play, therapeutic laughter, all these things is my area of work. And where are you from?
I'm from Delhi. I have a session as of now. Hello.
This change.
Come on in, please. Come on in. Welcome.
Meena.
I'm officially addicted to the phone, I can tell. And I admit it, she's fine. The first step to addiction is admitting it.
Very true.
I'm sure we all are in some form. Addicted to the phone.
And where do you practice? Bangalore. Oh,
Pendrive पता है गलत थी. Pendrive
Okay, this is mine.
Okay, can I just I need to download something?
Yes.
So can I just for a moment take it?
Yeah, yes. No, but there is other song.
Okay.
Other song. So you will be taking a session after this? After 6? Okay.
So we're doing one meditation, and we're talking about how your past beliefs affect your future.
Oh. Past meditation affects your future.
No, past beliefs.
Because I don't have hands to leave you guys to it.
Yeah,
I've
just
been
been
people.
yeah, 3 of them are coming in. So don't worry about it.
And I've got this lovely lady that's joined us that grabbed as well.
Yeah, so I think we should begin.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, because the session might get late otherwise.
I'll first. I think there's a few more that's coming in, so just wait. I'll
Unless you want to start. Do you want to start?
I'll cut. Because what I can do is short on the session. So I just think,
Do you want to just let Meena start then? Because otherwise we're wasting more time. It's going to run over.
If you alright, go ahead.
Let Meena start.
How long is Meena speaking?
Just main. How long is shorts for?
It all depends on the kind of speed I get.
What do you mean? Speed. Sorry. Are you not staying? I'm home. Okay, so how long is that?
10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, just have an hour.
Yeah.
And how long is your session?
I just play by ear, so whatever you go over, if I've just got to go under, I'll go under. If I have to, I'm fine. I just work around you two ladies. So if I have a minute, fine. If I have 2 minutes, I'll be fine. I'm easy. Having to be easy.
How long do you
Less than 10 minutes. It's probably going about 6-7 minutes. Not very long.
Obviously, we all have the same timing.
So it's all at the same timing. Okay.
Almost the same timing.
So I'll be leaving the room for about 5:30 to run across.
I'm so chilled.
What's the time now?
It's 10 to, so we've got a bit of time between us. So I'm just wondering.
10 to?
10 to 5.
5.
Yeah. Okay. So try to see if we get some.
Fine. Whatever you ladies want to do, just let me know. Honestly.
So Parmi, you start. Parmi?
I think
you begin with your session so that you'll be free by 5:30. Right?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to try and wait for a few more people though, because talking to a camera person is one person.
It's okay, people will start pouring in. Don't worry.
Hi. Hello, come on in.
So we start.
Yeah, let's begin. Parmi?
Don't mind, I'll have to leave at 5:15 with somebody coming to pick me up. Yeah.
So what time are you going to go? 5:15?
Yeah, because actually, we're working for the recording now. As the recording goes.
It does, but I think we get to get two, 3 more people for the start. You want, because honestly, I'm going to be very quick. I can do it so you guys can finish on time.
You're all talking about the same
No,
slide?
different things.
These are two topics which have been planned.
Okay, so which is the second one?
First one is the parenting, and second one is how to be the leaders.
How can maybe change leaders?
Yeah, these are the two topics they have jammed. Actually, they were separate initially, but then they merged together. It's okay.
That's right. One
There
was
was
a slap
like
and the other was a clap.
Beautifully put it.
Including 2 years. And then I run a session at 6 o'clock, which kind of combines a few kind of wraps up the conference, but gives you a disability perspective, which I think a lot of people are going to find interesting. So yeah. We're in the middle of this conference. I've been here since Monday. Then I flew out to Mumbai.
Okay.
And I was in Mumbai Wednesday and Thursday doing some work with another NGO with disabled children. And then I met one of I've been talking to a wonderful lady who I'm going to talk a bit about that now. So we are getting global disabled ambassadors. And one of the young ladies lives in Delhi. And so after my presentation this morning, I met her for coffee and her father. And it's all about, it's about connectivity and it's about valuing people. And certainly, even though I meet so many different people and I'm the CEO, I always make sure that whether it's a family or a young ambassador, that I'm approachable and I'm available. I'll make myself available for some connection with the usual time. I'm going to wait for Zoe to come back and then I'm going to start. And I'll just see if she can grab a couple more people. We've had several that said they were going to come.
Nobody's coming in.
All right, then we're going to start then. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Right, ready?
Thank you.
Okay, so hi everyone.
Mic.
Oh, I need the microphone.
Mic.
Sorry. Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Parmi, Dheensa. I'm the CEO and founder of Include Me Too. Our topic is about how we become change leaders. But it's also about, with Include Me Too, it's very much, we've always believed in, right from the outset, it's been about disabled children, young people, and parents and carers' voices, and also how we can empower and increase awareness of disability, increase inclusion, and also support the vision that we have, which is a disability, inclusive, safe, friendly society for everyone. So I'm going to give you 4 examples of some of the work that we've done. It's really important to actually support the next generation to become change leaders. It's also really important for those people that are affected by any issue. It could be a range of different issues, from gender, disability, mental health, women issues, so many inequalities that people face time to time that need to come to the fore and end up campaigning or getting a place around the table and having those choices and opportunities met. And that is very relevant when it comes to parents and carers of disabled children who we support to become champions and realise they're champions and advocates for their disabled children. But it's also been very important from the day one that we ensure that we strengthen the voice of disabled children and young people. So we have an ambassador programme, and the ambassador programme very much was about supporting children from the year 7 to the year 11, so we're talking about 11 years old up to the age of 18, where we supported them to get to know about their rights. We have got United Convention rights on the child. We've also now got the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and it's really important to ensure that these are accessible and are delivered in a manner that children can actually take on board and see themselves as unique individuals who have rights, who can dream and dream large, and have the right to have those supported and be included in society. So we've done programs within schools called Disability Rights Respected Schools, where we train young ambassadors. We have got a range of young ambassadors who are disabled young people, as you said, going up to now 29 years old, getting trained up, and it's the training and support is very much so that they are able to be in command and be the narrator of their own story, own their story, share their journey, share their achievements, share some of the hurdles that they come across, because storytelling is such a fantastic way of getting the message across. The same with parents and carers, ensuring that they're also able to share solutions, share their experiences, so we can ensure that policymakers and people that are in charge of services can also ensure that they incorporate and implement those in their plans in the future. So we've got our ambassador programme. And the other thing that we also are working with is an organisation called Merit 360. I don't know how many of you have heard of them. So Merit 360 did an event in New York last year, and we've got the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 goals. They had young people from across the globe, about 300 plus from across the globe, attend in New York. Prior to that, they all, when they were selected, started working on the Sustainable Development Goal that they had chosen. When they came together as a group, they started looking at how did they end up implementing that Sustainable Development Goal, and they presented that at the UN office in New York. That programme is taking place again this year, but this time in the UK. So we approached Merit 360, and over the last year, we noticed that where were the voices of disabled young people? They weren't there. So we're piloting for the first ever time, we're ensuring that we can get disabled young people, a group of 15 young people, to be part of our pilot and actually have a say in Sustainable Development Goals. Hence, the session that I'm going to be doing after is going to be looking a little bit more into that. But that, once again, is about giving young people the opportunity to build their skills, their expertise, and also the fact that ensure them and reassure them and ensure that they recognise that they have a set skill, they have an expertise, they can be a change leader, they can be a person of influence, because we surely should be supporting our future leaders. I'll give you 2 examples of what I've done while I've been here in India at the Women's Economic Forum. So I've been a bit of a busy bee. So whilst I came to India, there's a wonderful young lady I met called Sharma, and I've been speaking to her. She's one of the Commonwealth young people. And we're at the moment working with the Commonwealth Youth Council, where we've actually got a project called Commonwealth Include Me Too. It is about including disabled people from the Commonwealth. And it's very much about strengthening their voice and their representation. So what we ended up doing was that we have ended up getting in contact with many young disabled people throughout the Commonwealth that wanted to get involved in our programme. And Verba Sharma is a young lady who's visually impaired, and we've been talking on Skype about her being involved in our programme in India, and I met her today. And basically, she is a phenomenal lady that not only is part of the Disability Campaign in the Commonwealth, but she's also part of UNICEF, the Global Partnership for Disabled Children, and now she's coming on board as one of our young ambassadors. So once again, we can see the potential in her as a change leader, and for her to be a role model for other disabled young people, to ensure that they also can feel that they can actually make a difference. The other school that I met was actually in Mumbai. I travelled over to Mumbai. I met an amazing school, Gateway School, and met with some lovely young disabled young people. We are going to establish our Young Ambassador Programme here now in Mumbai, in India, and it's about disabled young people, once again, getting to know what their rights are. What we found is over the years, not only do they increase their confidence, but also they have, it's about making sure that disabled children have a sense of belonging, and that also that they can strive for their dreams and aspirations, and they also can see, be supported, so they can influence change. So they, quite rightly, amongst their peers, can be change leaders. So we're hoping to build a future, a platform where young disabled people can be leaders, change makers, and certainly people of influence to ensure that disabled people are not left behind. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Meena? So, you sorry,
no, your topic relates to the so we can discuss.
Well, you must go.
Hello friends, today we are here for a session here, and I would be playing a game. Are you all willing to play a game with me?
Sure.
Everybody?
Yeah.
Yes. So before I begin my session, I would love to play a game with you. As my topic, as you can see, is learn to slap your child before the world slaps him. What do you understand by this?
Before anyone else kind of points out something is wrong with your child, it's the responsibility of the guardians and the parents to scold or slap or whatever, whichever way. Slap doesn't mean that you have to literally slap the child. Slap is that whichever way, a motivational way, inspirational way, just try and put a stop to that behavior which would not be accepted and which is not appreciable.
Would you relate to the same?
More or less the same. I could also interpret it in the way that there's going to be a shock that's going to come to him. So rather than him getting it from a stranger, let it come from his own parent who will present it and prepare him for that.
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
So style, doer, award, and prepare. So, for example, like you just said, it's about preparing them for the big bad world instead of the big bad world slapping them back.
Okay. Is that it? Do you also interpret the same?
Yeah.
Yes. So if this is it, then I think in the end I would be asking you again, do you believe in the same? Alright? So now, the biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand. We listen to reply. This is the biggest shortcoming in everybody, not only in children, but in parents as well. We do not respond, we react. And the moment we start reacting, understanding disappears completely. So before that, I would be asking you all to understand three things. Have you ever dealt with a difficult person?
Oh yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
Every day.
So whenever you deal with a difficult person, how do you behave? You react or you respond?
Trial and error.
React or you respond?
React.
You
Always
react.
have to respond. You have to take the moment to analyse, structure, and then take your time and strategically respond.
So yes, I am going to analyze all the three things now. You can see three faces out here. Can you decipher something? What about can't speak up? What kind of a person is he?
Passive.
Is he passive, assertive, aggressive? Passive? How about loud?
Assertive.
You know what is loud? He is loud, so assertive, passive, aggressive. Aggressive.
I'm loud, I'm not aggressive.
Loud doesn't mean that your voice is loud. Loud is that you are talking about those things which do not matter at all, which are not relevant at all. That is loudness. Loudness doesn't mean the pitch of your voice. You may raise your voice, but if it's speaking sense, then that is not loud. Right? How about firm?
That's assertive, yes.
That is assertive. Don't know my rights.
Passive.
Don't know my rights.
Yeah,
Passive? Yes, it is passive. Direct. Straightforward.
Borderline.
The one who is always straightforward. Is he passive, aggressive, or assertive?
Aggressive.
Aggressive. That is assertive. Who's bossy? Aggressive. This is what we have to understand as parents, and this is what we have to teach our children to be role models. Honest.
Assertive.
Assertive, passive, aggressive.
Assertive.
Assertive?
Yeah.
Yes, it is assertive. Pushy.
Aggressive.
Aggressive?
Yeah.
Yes. Respect rights of others. Assertive. Get stepped on. Easy.
Passive.
Passive. Meek, who's very timid, quiet. Meek. You know what is meek? Anything, any word not clear, please let me know about it. Meek. Meek is
Passive.
very passive. Dominating.
Aggressive.
Aggressive. Intimidating.
Aggressive.
Aggressive? Yes. Too accommodating.
Passive.
It's passive. Violate others' rights using power, position, and language.
Aggressive.
Aggressive. Talk softly. Assertive, aggressive, passive. Yes. Generally it comes in passive, but can be assertive as well if the person is talking sense. Yes. Recognize the importance of having my needs and rights respected. Whether you are giving me or not, I want it done. That is assertive. Must get my way. The hook or the crook. This is when the children throw the tantrums. They are getting their way done. And as parents, we may understand, we may not understand. And out of guilt, we are making the child give away whatever he needs, whatever he requires. So, must get my way makes him aggressive. And he won't understand your problem. Whether you may have money, you may not have time, but if the child wants it and you are putting in, giving in to his tantrums, then you are allowing him to become aggressive later in his later years. Gives cold fish handshakes. You know, handshakes have a symbol. Whenever you're shaking hands with somebody, it gives out a message. Have you ever felt that?
Yes, of course.
In business dealings, that is very important.
What is a cold fish?
What is cold
There's
fish?
just no kind of expression.
There is no
we have
warmth.
expression in your
There is no
body
warmth.
language.
You don't want to maintain relation. You want to just shaking
For the
hands.
heck of it.
For the heck of it, you are getting let go of
Is that a
it.
saying over here? Cold
Yes,
fish?
the child learns it when parents are not giving him a very magical touch hug with him. You know? So it makes him passive. Don't stand up for my rights. Passive. React instantly.
Aggressive.
Makes him aggressive. Avoid conflicts.
Passive.
Passive. Conflict confident?
Certain.
Certain. Great. Don't care where or when I blast someone.
Aggressive.
He watches when we are dealing with the people around us as parents. The child is observing very, very closely, mindfully. So when you are blasting, whether you care who's there inside the house or not, who's there, where are you in the marketplace or in the restaurant, wherever you're blasting in somebody, it makes you mad. Realize I have choices. I have alternatives. I have choices. And I respect those choices. It will make him assertive. Effective communicator. It will make him assertive. People take advantage of me so easily. It will make him passive. Can express my needs. Can be abusive. Aggressive. Wise like handshake. Wise like?
I don't know what wise means.
Wise like when you are also wanting to maintain relationship and I am also wanting to maintain the relationship. That will make him, yes, aggressive as well as assertive both. Make good eye contact.
Assertive.
Yes, assertive. I like to get even with him.
Could be assertive in that manner.
That is aggressive. Speak with firm voice.
Assertive.
Trouble saying no, then I am angry and resentful. You can't say no to anything. Anyone who comes in, you can't say no. But then later on you crib, you cry. Why did I do that? Why did I budget? Why did I accept that? So,
to say no.
Yes,
Okay.
it is passive. And that is what teaches us. As you sow, so shall you reap. Smart parenting. It is parenting is what kind of seeds we are sowing in the house. And that is what it says. Your life is an echo. It gets you back. It gets back to you. As you sow, so shall you reap. To ease another's heartache is to forget one's own. What you send out comes back. What you give, you get. What you see in others exists in you. What is above is below. And that is what is, I have magic in power. Every person has a magic in power in him. Only thing is, you need to realize this. And that is what is slapping. Slapping is, style your child with beautiful feelings. Lure your child to understand others' feelings. Award your child to appreciate others, to respect others, and prepare your child for harsh challenges, for difficult people, for difficult things in life. And if we are able to do that as parents, we are smart parents. Because parenting is of 4 kinds. Dominating, permissive, unengaged, and positive. What kind of a parent are we? Are we dominating parents? What are dominating parents? Is power-oriented discipline, threatens, intimidates, commands, uses I am bigger, stronger than you, like a rock. He doesn't budge easily. That is a parent who is a dominating parent, who doesn't want to understand what the child is demanding. And then he's rigid and controlling, demands respect through fear. Believes the parent is always right. Doesn't give space to his child. Offers very little affection, warmth, encouragement, or praise. Enforces a clear set of expectations. Monitors children's activities carefully. And that is a dominating parents. So what kind of a child would he have? Rebellious or submissive child. If the children are becoming rebellious, we need to think about ourselves. If the child is distrustful, because we have not been able to maintain trust with the child, because where is he going, how is he going, when is he going, when is he coming back? If we are monitoring every single moment of the child, we are not putting in faith in him. So he learns to become distrustful. And that is manipulative, power-oriented with peers. He learns to become a bully. Manipulative and sneaky. Power struggles with parents. difficulty making decisions, only follows rules when parent is present. But next comes permissive parenting style. Permissive is like a marshmallow. Marshmallow like a sugar coat, where the parent is a child's friend. Substitute things for time or commitment. Maybe too busy or distracted, but tries to give time. Offers few guidelines, maybe inconsistent. Feels sorry for the child, easily gives in, easily melts to the tantrums of the child. Does too much for the child, goes out of the way to help the child. Even that is wrong. And he is always there for his rescue missions, maybe reacting to their own rigid upbringing. If this is the parenting style, then what kind of a child we would be expecting him to turn out to be? Insecure, because he's dependent on you. He's not strong enough. Searching for boundaries. He will never be a good decision maker. Little respect for authority. Poor self-control, for he is looking for answers inside you as a parent. Self-indulging, will not be able to follow rules because he will always not be able to understand what rules are exactly because he has been always been monitored by his parents. And it becomes irresponsible in the end. Doesn't understand cause or effect and hasn't learned that his or her reactions may have consequences. Next parenting style is unengaged parenting style. Like a moon. Have you ever seen a moon? Which grows bigger and grows smaller. Grows bigger and grows smaller. And then the parenting style is inconsistent. Little nurturing. No expectations. Can be selfish at times because he's busy doing his work. He may have children around him, but he is not bothered of what is happening around him. Children tend to raise themselves. They are left to fend for themselves. Maybe physically present but not emotionally, mentally engaged. No respect towards children or others. What kind of children he would be having? Children with low esteem, high anxiety. Few social skills would be there. Little respect for others. No responsibility. And may be too responsible for the age if expected to raise themselves and siblings. Next parenting style is positive parenting style. And this is like a ball, which bounces with life. Like a ball. Bounces with life, firm, but loving. Sets clear boundaries. Follows thorough with appropriate consequences. Follows throughout his. But makes him understand, if you do this, this is going to happen. If you do this, this is going to happen. So it is kind of give and take. Reasonable expectations. He doesn't have too high hopes and doesn't put in high expectations on his child. Allow for learning mistakes. Healthy modeling of expected behaviors. Confident, flexible, respectful. Follows through with appropriate consequences. Teamwork. Give and take. And share the power. And it teaches him dignity of labor. He delegates the duties in the family. And then what kind of children he has? He has confident, secure, respects self as well as for the others. Becomes a responsible parent, will have a responsible child. Self-discipline because he knows what discipline is exactly. And then inner motivation because he has told them what is right and wrong for them. He has given them to take his freedom to take their own decisions. And then becomes and knits a closer family relationships. So my dear friends, this is what is nurturing, respect and discipline. What kind of a parent am I? Can anyone introspect? Are you hard as a rock? Are you a marshmallow? Are you like a moon? Or are you like a bird? What kind of a parent are you? Just think about it. If you are like that, then obviously you can't expect. A ball parent cannot expect a rock child. A rock parent cannot expect a ball child. A moon parent cannot expect a marshmallow child. A marshmallow parent cannot expect a home child. The way he gives, the way he gets. And this is what the beauty of parenting is. When parenting styles disagree, our family relationships tends to get out of balance. And when balance has to be created, that is what the beauty of life is. And this is what we say. Learn to slap your child before the world slaps him. First home teaching is home teaching. First lesson is the mother's lesson. Second comes the father's lesson. And then third comes the school lesson. And fourth comes the society's lesson. So it is a ladder. And we all have to climb the ladder one way or the other. And my dear friends, this is what is smart parenting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Go. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
So I'm Zoe Bennett, and I'm going to talk to you about how can we be change leaders. Well, there's only one way you can be a change leader, is actually getting out there and leading and setting an example and teaching yourself that I can, I will, and equipping yourself, empowering yourself to set that example that you want to. Obviously, you want to be that change. You have to. In order for somebody else to follow you, you have to be the change. So for myself, I made that change. I didn't always start having a business. As you were saying about the parenting, nurturing, I actually booked that trend. And I chose my life. My life didn't choose me. It tried to, but it didn't. So I was severely abused as a child. And my mother was an alcoholic, and she still is now. She's very weak, but I didn't turn out like her. I didn't do the things that she did. I chose my destiny.
You became a rebel?
No, I didn't become a rebel. I became strong in my determination and my resolve.
Not to be like her.
You know, and I chose not to be like her, but I was never a rebel. I was always very respectful and respectful of my elders, and not just my elders, people around me, because I believe in treating people the way you want to be treated. And that's what makes a change leader. A change leader thinks about other people, has the compassion, and doesn't focus just on what they want. There are leaders out there, but there's a difference between a change leader and just a leader. And you have not just the passive, you've not just got the assertive, you've not just got the aggressive, you have the passive-aggressive also. So you have to learn to look at all those different elements of leadership, and the autocratic, the democratic, the laissez-faire when it comes to leadership, and look at which bits you want from each one of them. There's never one or the other, there's a mixture. And I chose to have the humanitarian within myself, and anything that I did, it's as a cause of I want to help beyond what I'm actually doing. So I come from a background where my father was the first ever, he actually started the first ever West Indian community centre in my grandmother's living room in Preston, Lancashire. And he would go out of his way to help other people. So he became a change leader in doing things for free for other people, for the community. He stood up and said, do you know something? There's racism in this town. Let me get the police together, let's play cricket matches together, play dominoes matches and darts matches, and bring the community together. I grew around that. I grew around that and saw that my dad was doing that. And so I wanted to emulate that. So although my mother was doing the things that she did, I just knew that I didn't want that side to be my life. But it didn't make me aggressive, it just made me assertive and had a clear focus, clear direction from a young age. But for me, I thought that looking after other people was normal. So I was a young change leader in the making. And I could have gone any different way, but I chose to see the good in people and do the right things in people. And for me to be a leader, you have to lead by example, but a good example. There's a difference of being a leader and of being an aggressive leader. It's never going to happen in my book, and if I see that happening, I will stand firm and I will stand by people. So that's what I do. So eventually I was told I would never amount to anything at school. So I could have gone that way and never amounted to anything. And they gave me estimated grades that I wouldn't pass. So I couldn't get into any college. So I had to get into just any college. I moved 200 miles just to get into a college, and not even the course I wanted. And I got very, very sick. So my father brought me back up to Preston, Lancashire, and I got better after a month. So everybody started their course 6 months earlier now, and I went on to another course, a college course, and out of 24 people that started way before me, only 4 people actually completed the course and passed the course. And bearing in mind I was 6 months in, I was one of those 4 people. It was that moment that I realised that I don't let anybody else define me. I define myself. I take charge of myself, my destiny, my life. It's my life to do with as I wish. Not for anyone else to take that from me. And that's what I did. So eventually, I started working, but I put myself through university, and I got a master's in tourism management. This is a girl that was never meant to amount to be nothing. So through looking at my father and what he was doing, I didn't realise what he was doing was actually networking, what we call in this modern day. So I was a natural networker without knowing it, an unsuspecting networker. So that set me up for when I took on my own company. But I didn't take the company on before tragedy happened. I got a fantastic job with the government of Jamaica. And so I was the face of Jamaica. I promoted it, I did sales and marketing, the account management, the event, anything you can think of, I was it. And my territory area was vast. I was responsible for a huge area. And it afforded me to have the most beautiful things in life, and to give my dad the best life that he could possibly have. And we had a 7-bedroom, 5-bathroom, 3 huge reception villa in Jamaica. And my dad went over, he lived in England with me, went over on holiday, and unfortunately, through a bungled burglary, he was tortured and murdered to death. So I had to get myself together, and just as I was leaving, because we have a vast family, I wrote on Facebook, my father has been murdered in Jamaica this morning, just to let people know. But once I landed in Jamaica, the actual Director General of Jamaica met me off the plane. I said, the Minister of Tourism is in uproar because you used the word Jamaica in the sentence. You've defamed the country. So they suspended me. So they handed the house back to me in exactly the same way that my father had been murdered. I was 5 months pregnant at the time. I had that choice to either lead with my passion or lead with my emotion. And I chose to lead with my passion and took the sense to bag all the evidence up and literally so I can bring it back to England and send it back via Interpol, which I eventually did. So after many, many years of campaigning, I actually, after 7 postponed trials, after the death threats I was receiving and official letters from the Jamaican government summoning me to Jamaica, knowing I'm going towards my death, I literally eventually beat them because I got my MPs involved. They chaired a meeting at the House of Commons in the UK and also at the Foreign Office. And one of the murderers got 40 years to life without parole. And I took the government to court and I won on all counts and they paid me out compensation. So, but while this was going on, I chose to set my own company up because I'm not going to let anyone define me and work for anybody else. I'm taking control. I became a change leader. It's about what I will put out there is what I'm going to get back. And I wanted to set an example to people that, you know something, you can go up against any giant, but it's the effort you put in, not the win, it's the effort you put in that makes you a true leader, not just in business, but in your life. You have to be a change leader in your own life before anything else comes to the forefront. And if you do that in your life first, then your business will flourish. So I chose to set up my company, Training Personified. So I, in the beginning, was teaching companies good customer service skills. Look after your internal customers, your employees, as as well as your external customers. Because once you look after your internal customers are looked after. And that's just common sense, but clearly they don't know this. Hence why the ones who treat me the way they did. So from there I realised so many people saying there's this problem in the world, that problem in the world. And I'm thinking, well, why is people doing that instead of doing the doing? So I decided to set up the Midlands Business and Community Charity Awards, where you recognise and value unsung heroes in the business world. But I did it because I wanted to say thank you to my MP for saving my life. But at the same time, I wanted other people to have the opportunity to thank people in their life who go the extra mile every single day selflessly. And because it was off the back of my father's murder, I do not take a penny, and I don't keep any of the profits. All the profits go to charity, every penny of the profits. I also am the founder of the Removing the Shame and Guilt Conference, where it's a case of women who come from physical violence or continue to go through it, or emotional abuse. We have a conference that I've created. It's not just a case of we talk at them with a panel. I've created workshops so they can get tasty sessions of how to heal themselves from within, from inside out, how to have confidence building workshops, how to do creativity through crafts to actually get themselves healing, also how to share their story, understanding the signs. I've brought charities to this conference who will then be signposting them, so it's not stopping on that day, they've got something ongoing beyond the day, and that's teaching them to be a change leader within themselves, within their own mind. They are the change. You are, everybody is the change. So from that moment, I decided to do every initiative that I could do. That's okay. So I'm on the board of the NSPCC, the National Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Children. I'm on that business board. I'm also an ambassador for the Women and Families Resource Centre, and also a champion for Include Me Too charity, and also a delivering partner that deals with confidence building. I deliver confidence building to women from backgrounds of human trafficking, sex trafficking, domestic violence, honour-based violence, and domestic violence. So I do that, and I boost them, and I show them how to be the change within their life. If they're the change in their life, and they have children as well, it will only resonate and show the children what they can be. And that's what a true change leader is. A true change leader steps up, and says, I'm going to be counted. I'm going to make a difference from my life to set an example for everybody else around me. So that's me. Zoe Bennett. There we go. Thank you.
That was truly, truly inspiring. Thank you so much. Parmi, Meena, and Zoe. We don't have an audience right now to give a big round of applause, but the four of us can do the needful. So let us.
A pat on our back for the wonderful work we are doing, and let us get good pictures clicked for us.
Yeah, that's fine. Is there any way we can get some of the footage of that?
Yes, of course.
How would I get the footage?
You all will get everything, so you can get to know from the information.
Oh, because the last conference I went to, I did ask and I wasn't able to get it from the last conference.
I think this is all being uploaded on the YouTube, on the WEF channel.
That'd be fantastic.
Yes, certainly. So all this is being streamlined live as well.
Okay. Right, would you mind? Was there take a picture?
Yeah, he's calling the photographer.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Pleasure. You're doing such wonderful work. We are all doing some wonderful work.
Every one of us is. Yeah.
Were you from Jamaica?
No, I was born and bred in England.
Okay. And where are you based right now?
In England. Yeah, in Birmingham.
And you, Parmi?
I'm based in England, sir. So I was born there, but my family's originally from Punjab.
Oh, great. And you, my dear, based in Delhi.
Selfie while we're waiting. Want to get the thing in there? It's not going to get it. Perfect. I'm absolutely hungry, but no food is inside of me.
You had lunch?
I did, but I don't feel well. Yeah. I'm going to try again and go back to the room for a minute before I speak again. I think he's gone now.
No, he hasn't gone.
So you're heading off now, aren't you? You've got time.
Yeah, we have time.
You're very quick. Yeah. So what do you teach that then?
I train them for actually for effective classroom communication teaching. Yeah, because we generally in India are not adopting new methods.
I know.
Slightly slow in adopting new methods. So I'm trying to communicate what new methods are for teaching.
We have to check from there. Did you check?
It was written on the board.
It was? So it will be there.
Yeah.
Just wait, they will be coming.
बंद कर देगा रिकॉर्डिंग चल
Parmi, come.
When you get crashed to a presentation again.
Oh no, did you not save it? She went to
I
lodge?
was trying to save it and it just crashed. So,
Do you mind taking? Yeah, thank you.
एक मिनट